Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Courtside Soundoff podcast today. I'm Josh Evanoff. He's Angel Ortega. Before we're going to talk about all the stuff, including UFC Vegas, the NHL's return to play, and Francis Ngannou, Dilly, and Whyte potentially happening, a bunch of other news as well. I want to talk to you guys about Fight Plus. Because Fight Plus provides a special selection of premium events from boxing, MMA, pro wrestling, and other combat sports. Watch favorite events from over 25 promotions 30 days after airing. Fight Plus includes organizations like Brave FC, Unified MMA, UC MMA, CZW, BKB, FSW, BCAB Boxing, Kunlun, and much, much more available for your viewing pleasure. You can cancel at any time, only $4.99 a month, and you can go through the link on our YouTube. Any place you can find us, we have a 7-day free trial that you guys can enjoy. After that, it will be $4.99 for each month. Thank you to Fight TV, as always, for sponsoring us. I talked last week about Double or Nothing, and I really want to quickly give an update because this was probably one of the most enjoyable couple of hours I've had in a long time when it came to watching a sporting event. Mox defeating Brody Lee, really good match. Cody Rhodes defeating Lance Archer. Mike Tyson taking his shirt off and flexing and saying, I swear to God, it's like nobody told Mike Tyson that pro wrestling is scripted. Because at one point he squares up to Jake the Snake Roberts, and then he looks at Lance Archer. The camera like goes, "Fuck you," and he's just like he gets super into it, and I'm like, bro, Mike, come on, bro, we're on TV, And then the Elite defeating the Inner Circle in the Stadium Stampede match. If you guys haven't watched it, even if you're not a pro wrestling fan, you gotta watch this. It's like the only thing I can compare it to is like if you guys ever played like the WWE games, like there's the backstage fighting mode. It's like that. It's like it's just them fighting throughout the Jacksonville Jaguars stadium, and it's the most ridiculous shit. It's awesome. If you guys want to catch the replay, it's on Bleacher Report Live and also Fight TV if you guys are outside of the United States. So yeah, just want to give a quick shout out to that because I know I talked about it last week and it was absolutely insane. Angel, I know that you didn't see any of it, but you should.
I wanted to. I regret it so much, even because the Cody Rhodes promo or the promo that I saw they cut was pretty good, so I was kind of sad that I didn't get to see it. And then I saw Iron Mike popped up, and we got, like you said, Josh, we're in the wrong universe. We have, we had Vitor there, Henry, Tyson, and like the whole we had a colorful group of people there that did not seem like they were supposed to all be there, but they were all there.
Well, yeah, so like they had the pay-per-view, Mike's there, Iron Mike's there, which by the way, I saw Dana White talking about it. I'm not sure if Mike is doing an exhibition anymore. I think it might actually be fighting, which is terrifying, but I guess we'll have to wait until the news actually comes out on that before we talk about it. Like, I'm not sure if that's true, but like, so Mike was there, right? And Mike's doing the whole thing. And then AEW Dynamite, their weekly show on Wednesday, all of a sudden Henry shows up and Vitor Sugar Rashad Evans shows up, and like it was like I'm like, dude, Henry is getting fucking paid, bro. Henry, he's him and Ryan Garcia were going back and forth on Twitter. He just defended the belt and retired as a 2-weight champion. Now he's showing up in AEW. Like, this dude is making mad cash, and I gotta respect the hustle. Like, he's everywhere. Everywhere you look in combat sports, Henry Cejudo is there. So shout out to him for securing the bag, honestly. But yeah, that's kind of I really want to talk about that stuff just real quickly. That show is absolutely awesome. You guys should watch it. I'm not gonna, the Stadium Stampede match. You guys just gotta watch it. It was absolutely insane. It was like a video game. So, really quickly to move on to UFC Vegas. There was a UFC last week, so nothing to recap. But the UFC Vegas, back in Vegas, obviously, because Nevada approved their idea to have run shows like there officially and safely. So that's what they're going to be doing. And they also approved some boxing shows, which we'll kind of end the show talking about. But UFC Vegas, Tyron Woodley making his return, his first fight since losing his welterweight championship over a year ago to Kamaru Usman, and probably one of the most one-sided title fight losses I've ever seen. Taking on Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns is streaking right now, man. This guy has looked phenomenal. He's won, I think, 7 of his last 8, with his one loss being to Dan Hooker. I know he's beaten Alexei Kunchenko, Gunnar Nelson, and then he knocked out Damian Maia in UFC Brasilia on the last UFC card before the whole COVID thing happened. This one, I've gone back and forth on this a lot. Tyron Woodley, obviously, he's got the wrestling background. He's got the championship experience. He's fought more 5-round fights than Gilbert Burns ever has. I don't think Gilbert Burns has gone 5 rounds once. But also, man, Gilbert Burns just looks so great. But and Tyron Woodley, it's a gamble which one shows up. Either it's going to be extremely tentative, or is you going to go balls to the wall, going for the knockout, trying to get a finish. It's really just a flip of the coin which Tyron Woodley you're going to get. Angel, which Tyron Woodley do you think we're going to get on Saturday night against Gilbert Burns?
I don't even know anymore with this man. It's been forever since we've seen him fight, because it's literally been the Kamaru loss and nothing since then, right? I'm pretty sure.
I think it's been 15 months, 14 or 15 months.
It's been a while. The guy's almost 40 years old. Granted, with the style he has, I guess it's fine, but it's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like Gilbert, no matter what, can hang with him, and because we saw Gilbert. Not gonna lie, Gilbert had a couple scary moments with Maya on the ground. I was like, oh snap, is Maya about to get that submission? Like, it really looked a bit scary there for a moment. I don't know if you recall that when they were on the ground, but they went back and forth. They had a couple nasty exchanges on the ground. So I think as far as being on the ground, I mean, I know wrestling's gonna be different than jiu-jitsu, but I feel like there could be, I can see Tyrone having some challenges when it comes to approaching this, and especially if he's not like fully in it, it could be a very rough time for him. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, Gilbert Burns is one of the most accomplished jiu-jitsu guys in the UFC. Like, just overall, I mean, not even in the UFC, across MMA, across jiu-jitsu, he's one of the best guys. And Tyron Woodley, though, I think Tyron Woodley is one of the guys that could potentially go trade with him on the mat, so to speak. I mean, he has an incredible top game. He's a black belt in his own right, submitted Darren Till, and he has such an underrated ground game as well. But even then, I think if he wants to keep that fight on the feet, he will. You're not taking down Tyron Woodley unless you're Kamaru Usman. It's not before the Kamaru Usman loss. He'd only been taken down once, and that was by Rory McDonald, and that was just a really quick double leg, and I don't even think he kept him down. So I don't think that fight's going to go to the mat until potentially later in the fight. If Gilbert Burns tries to tire him out, and Tyron Woodley's kind of a guy who's had issues with his gas, just staying 100% 5 rounds, like, he's a guy that will pace himself. He's kind of like Robbie Lawler in that way, where Robbie kind of saves up a lot. He'll go balls to the wall, probably the first 2 rounds, save energy for the 5th, and come back strong. Tyron Woodley's kind of like that. Like, he'll go quick sometimes, but he tries to conserve energy, so he has stamina for 5 rounds. He's not like one of those guys like Kamaru Kroll, but they can just go for 5 rounds. So honestly, for me, whenever it comes to this fight, I'm kind of going back and forth on it. But I think I'm going to take Woodley. Woodley has the 5-round experience. He can go the 5 rounds, and I think it's going to be close, man. I'm a huge Gilbert Burns guy. I've been really high on Gilbert Burns for a long time. I think the Konchenko win is the one that kind of put me over the top, because Konchenko, the former M1 global champion, he was the first guy to beat Konchenko, honestly. Either him or Dos Santos. I don't remember which one, like, in what order that fight happened. But, yeah, I know you didn't really give an official prediction, so I'm going to send it back to you. Who do you got?
I got Burns.
You're going Burns, so we're split once again.
I'll go out on a limb. I'll pick Burns.
I actually think Gilbert Burns might be the favorite, but I honestly have no idea. This is one of the closest fights I've had to call in a long time. But in the co-main event, we got the heavyweights. We have Blagoy Ivanov, Augusto Sakai, both top 15 guys, and I have. Okay, listen. Here's the thing about, like, the lower end of heavyweights. The lower end of, like, the top 15. I have no idea how good any of those guys are, because they just trade wins and losses all the time. Blagoy, obviously he came in the UFC, he got dominated by JDS, then he beat Ben Rothwell, he beat Tai Tuivasa, and then he lost a very close fight to Derek Lewis. On the other hand, Augusto Sakai, undefeated in the UFC, knocked out Chase Sherman, beat Andrei Arlovsky, but he should have lost to Andrei Arlovsky. It was a close one. Marcin Tybura, he beat last September. His only loss in his career was to Czech Congo in Bellator in 2017. I know who I got for this one. I'm taking Blagoy Ivanov. Blagoy, he has the better experience at the top level. You could argue that he beat Derek Lewis. He's beating the better names, and he's I believe he was a former World Series of Fighting champion. I know he's a former combat sambo champion as well over there in Russia. Angel, who do you got in the co-main?
Dude, we're going to split it, and I'm picking Sakai. I did some research.
Really? What did your research lead you
It's
to
nothing
say
anything
that?
crazy, but I saw he had really good leg kicks, which I think would be good. He's a taller man. I saw him against the cage. He didn't look bad, and I know if Blagoy tries to put him up against the cage and go for a takedown, Sakai will be in good hands. So he has some pretty, like, up against the cage. He was holding it, like, in the clinch. He wasn't looking bad. Obviously, level of competition they fought is different, but I have some faith. So that's why I'm going out on a limb and picking Sakai.
That's fair enough. I think for me, the big thing about Sakai is we haven't seen a whole lot of him in the UFC, at least, just having to deal with a guy that's trying to out wrestle him. And his only loss in his career was to Czech Congo, and that was just Czech Congo out wrestling him in Bellator. And I watched that fight, and I'm surprised Sakai has been somebody who's had as much success in the UFC as he has, but also, like I said, he's got some good leg kicks. He's got some good hands. I would not be surprised if he won this one. He's a younger fighter. So, is there any fight on the prelims that you want to talk about? Because I've got a couple to point out, but which one would you, if you have any, to talk about?
Let me go back. I had it pulled up earlier here. Let me see. Oh, we got so Kaylin Kagan and Antonia Shevchenko. That was the one I saw earlier. Yeah, that I liked.
Yeah, Chukagian trying to get. That was one of the fights I want to talk about too. Chukagian trying to not really get revenge on Valentina's sister, but this is a really big fight for that division, man. Caitlin's ranked number 2. She just lost to Valentina in her title fight, and she's back taking on Valentina's sister. And here's the thing about Antonieva. She's really, really skilled. I think she's even better on the mat than Valentina is. She's incredibly underrated, but she did lose to Roxanne Modafferi very clearly, and that was her only fight at the top. And she's much younger. Actually, I don't even think she's much younger, but she seems like she's younger just because of her lack of experience. I don't know who I'm gonna take there. I think I'm gonna take Chukagian to just get a fairly boring kind of point win. I just think she's at the top of that division. She has been for a while ever since it launched. So I'm gonna stick with Chukagian on that one, but. Really quick fight I wanted to point out: Mackenzie Dern, Hannah Cifers. I've been on the Mackenzie Dern train ever since she announced she was going to MMA. She's probably she probably is arguably the greatest women's grappler of all time. She just has so many accomplishments. She's a former. Actually, if I were to go through all of her achievements in jiu-jitsu, we'd be here for hours. But regardless, she's probably the greatest women's jiu-jitsu I guess fighter on the planet. She had her last fight was her first loss to Amanda Ribas. Before that, she was 7-0, 2-0 in the UFC. She beat Amanda Cooper and Ashley Yoder. I think she's gonna beat Cifers here. Quick fight also to shout out Louis Smolka. Casey Ken is gonna be a fun one at bantamweight. But outside of that, do you got anything else we want to touch on this card, do you want to move on to Ngannou versus Dillian Whyte?
I'm ready for Ngannou versus Dillian Whyte.
All right, so this one's come out of nowhere. Francis Ngannou, Dillian Whyte. I've seen them been going back and forth in the media for a while now, and we know Ngannou's talked about wanting to go over into boxing. He grew up a guy training in boxing, and he wanted to pursue it. He never ended up pursuing it. I don't think he's ever had a professional fight. I don't think he's had an amateur fight, but he did first start training in boxing. I saw him in Mike Tyson's podcast. He was talking about how he grew up and he wanted to be Mike Tyson. He saw his training highlights, he saw his fighting highlights, and he wanted to be that guy. He ended up going into MMA, and as of right now, I think he's the baddest heavyweight on the planet. He's 15-3, 11 wins via knockout, 4 wins via submission, and he's beaten basically every single big name you can beat outside of Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier. Last time out, obviously, a couple days ago. It was 3 weeks ago. He knocked out Jairzinho Rosenstrike inside of 20 seconds. Before that, JDS. Before that, Cain Velasquez. Before that, Curtis Blades. This motherfucker has knocked out every single man he could. He is just putting a beating on everybody in that division. And Dillian Whyte, also kind of, in a weird way, the Francis Ngannou of boxing, because Francis Ngannou, due to division politics, has yet to fight for the belt. He deserves the shot right now, but because of Stipe and DC going back and forth with the UFC, he cannot fight for the belt. Dillian Whyte has not fought for he should have been fighting for the belt, and he's had a bunch of weird Mickey Mouse ass belts on the line, but he's yet to fight one of the big three in Fury, Joshua, or Wilder. Despite that, he has one of the greatest resumes in boxing. He's beaten Helenas, he's beaten Chisarro twice, Joseph Parker, Lucas Brown, David Allen. He's beaten Oscar Rivas. He's beating everyone. He's scheduled to fight Alexander Povetkin on July the 4th, supposedly. Now, that's where Ngannou comes in, because we saw them going back and forth in the media, and we saw Eddie Hearn say that potentially he wants to do something involving those two guys, and tomorrow, it got announced today, tomorrow there's going to be a virtual press conference for both those guys. There's a lot to unpack here, but do you have any interest in this fight? Like, seeing, obviously this would be happening in boxing, it would not be happening in MMA, which I think would be more even, but do you have any interest in this?
Of course. I mean, I think it's more like we don't want to say it, but we appreciate that crossover. I'll put it like that. We embrace the crossover.
Well, honestly, I'm one of the people that doesn't really. I mean, boxing purists don't want to crossover. It's just something that they don't really like it. I think it's cool. I think these dudes getting paid more money and just having like these weird kind of super fights, and neither one of these guys are going to be touching that belt. Dude, just the division being wrapped up right now, because obviously they have Pulev's fighting Joshua at some point. I think Eddie Hearn said he wants to do that sometime in the fall. And then Wilder, Fury, maybe not even happening until next year. And then after that, though, the winner of those two have to fight each other. So it's a whole thing. So due to that, Dillian Whyte can't fight, and then the heavyweight division in the UFC is also tied up. So why not do this? Why not? But do you think it's just wolf tickets, or do you think that this is something that's actually going to go down?
Oh boy, I mean, I don't know. Last time, I mean, anytime I wouldn't even say last time Connor. Well, no, yeah, the last time we had anything like this was Connor. It's been forever, and that was kind of like on a wild limb because Connor was like at his peak, and then Floyd. They were kind of chirping back and forth, so it was just kind of the perfect storm to make it happen now. With this, I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, okay, here's the reason why I would say this is as Nick Diaz would say, I think this is wolf tickets, yo. Listen, I would be fully on board with this happening if he was not scheduled to fight Povetkin. And Eddie Hearn has said that fight is still happening. And if they weren't scheduled to do that, I would be like, I saw that press conference announcement. I'm like, oh shit, it's going down. And then I'm like, wait a minute, he's fighting Povetkin in July. By the time that fight happens, by the time he heals up, Ngannou could probably fight for the title by then. That's even if it happens in July. It may get pushed back until August or September. Who knows? All of these big fights for boxing are currently in flux. I don't know, man. Like you said, the Conor thing was just a perfect storm. Floyd wanted to get that 50-0. But he also was kind of half in retirement, half out, half in the door, half out. You know what I mean? Like he needed like a relatively clear guy to get the win. And he didn't really want to face anybody too big. That's why went to get to 49-0. He faced Andre Berto, and Berto was only coming in over with 2 wins in a row and hadn't be considered one of the top guys in that division in years. And then he faced Connor for the 50, because he wanted to pass Rocky Marciano. He wanted to be the whole TBE thing, 50-0, retiring undefeated. And Connor, on the other hand, he was looking for the big payday. He had just dominated Eddie Alvarez. He just got the winner, Nate, in the rivalry. And he was the biggest name in combat sports at that time. And then Floyd come out of retirement. They'd been going back and forth for years. It was a perfect storm. This seems pretty forced. You know what I mean? Like, this feels like these guys don't have any real tie outside of Ngannou wanting to box. And Dillian Whyte that's it. Like that, Francis Ngannou just wants to box, and Dillian Whyte just so happens to be one of the biggest names without a clear path. Like that's literally it. So, listen, we'll see what happens tomorrow. I don't know what exactly is gonna go down. I know Eddie Hearn's been doing a thing where he interviews people on like a YouTube channel, and that might be what's happening. I've heard it's called a press conference. I've seen it's called like the Rivals series. I have no idea what's really going to go down. But really quickly, this wasn't really in our thing that I want in our kind of topic list, but it's something I want to talk about. So I brought up Mike Tyson earlier, and this is something I just remembered, and it's that he said earlier this week that the deal's pretty much done, and it's going to be a really big name. Like he said, people are going to be surprised at the name that's coming out, and Dana White also said that it's a really big name and it's a really big deal. There's no betting line for this. There's no clue who it is. We know Tyson Fury said it wasn't him, because he got interviewed for The Sun and he said, yeah, somebody offered it to me. I said no for an exhibition with Mike, and he said no. Angel, if you were to just throw a name out there, Tyson's implied it's not Evander Holyfield. We know that. He's implied it anyways. If you were to just throw a name out there, it's a really, really big deal apparently. Who do you think it's going to be?
Dude, we all know it's Roy. Come on. We all know it's Roy. We all know it's Roy.
We all know it's Roy.
We all know it's Roy.
Jokes aside, if Roy Jones were to fight Mike Tyson right now, who do you think would win?
Holy shit. I mean, Roy's fucked up in the body. Mike's fucked up in the head. It's not good for any of them. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Mike looks great, like just from the videos.
It's worth noting though, Roy had fought as of 2 years ago.
I guess you're right. It hasn't been very long. That's the one advantage there. But we saw
he ended his career on like a 6-fight winning streak. Like Roy wasn't as washed as people think whenever he retired.
Yeah,
like he wasn't at the top level, but he wasn't terrible.
But then at the same time, we've been watching these Mike highlights and he still has the movement. He still has it. Like it's kind of crazy how fine he looks. Like he doesn't look sluggish or anything, and he still looks in great. Well, now looks in great shape. So I don't know, bro. Like that, Iron Mike is scary. I think it'd be more of a chin factor at that point, if anything. But even then, I don't know if they'd be going all out. Even if it was like a quote unquote serious match. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I was just curious who you thought would win hypothetically in a situation where like they both do it. You know what I mean? But I don't know who Mike's gonna take on, man. Like I think it's gonna be an actual fight though. Like I really do. Like the more I'm seeing about it, and Mike said something like the gods of war have reawoken in him. Some really crazy shit. And I'm
he's
like,
a crazy man.
He really is. Like he's a scary dude right now, bro. Like I wouldn't fight. I mean, depending on the money, I'd fight Mike Tyson any day.
You'd probably die.
People are like, would you take $1 million to fight Mike Tyson in the 80s? And I'm like, bro, I'd take $100,000 to fight Mike Tyson in the 80s. At the first jab, I'd hit the mat, bro. Like,
have you ever heard that? It's a would you rather. It's like, would you rather punch a kid and everybody knows, or get punched by Mike Tyson once and then no one knows?
Dude, what kind of that's a shitty would you rather? I'd punch a kid. I don't care.
You punch a kid. You punch a young child, and everybody knows.
Bro, I don't even. If I'm not getting paid for the Mike Tyson thing, then who cares?
Just one punch from Mike. Maybe Mike will be nice. You never know. I mean, if you hit the kid, maybe Mike will punch you anyways.
It depends. If it's Hangover Mike, I'd probably take it. But also, if it's gods of war have reawoken in Mike, I'd punch a child for sure. Yeah, no doubt. Dude, Mike is a scary guy. But I don't know who he's gonna fight. Like, I don't know, man. But I think it's gonna be an actual fight because I've told everybody too. I told everybody, don't be scared. It's just an exhibition. I've told everybody I know because they're always like, oh my god, Mike's so old, bro. What's he doing? Like he's 52, whatever. You know what I mean? He's 50 something. He shouldn't be doing that. And I'm like, it's an exhibition. It's gonna be a show. I wrote a whole piece about listen, if Mike, even if he actually did fight, it wouldn't he's not the oldest dude. He's older dudes than him have done it. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's an MMA dude. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a big boxing star right now. I know it's not going to be anybody we know it's not going to be Tyson. We know it's not going to be one of those big names. So I have no idea who it is.
Who have fought this late into their lifetime? Who have fought?
Off the top of my head?
Yeah, MMA and boxing. I just want to know.
Larry Holmes boxed at 52 against Butterbean.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Yeah, that one. Thinking about buying the poster for that one. That one I actually saw a poster on sale. I texted Angel about this. I collect weird sports memorabilia, bro. That's the weirdest one you could possibly get. Butterbean and Larry Holmes. That was the OG meme fight. About the top of my head, Oliver McCall. He beat Lennox Lewis. He beat Larry Holmes. He fought last year at 55.
Jesus Christ.
That dude shouldn't be fighting. He has a huge history of mental illness. Somebody's got to tell that dude to stop. But Ken Shamrock fought at 52.
Oh yeah.
Bernard at 51. I think Roy retired at 48. I think it was 48 when last time he fought. 49, somewhere in there. There are other ones, but I can't remember. Like big name wise, I think that's all. Like Herschel Walker was 50 in MMA.
Goddamn.
Dan Hendo was 46. Like we've got some big. Randy Couture was 48. So it's weird. And people bring up that Mike's had a lot of damage. Mike really only had big damage in a couple of fights. Like he had obviously got knocked out by Lennox, and he had the 2 fights with Holyfield that were kind of brutal. But even then, the second one wasn't that bad. So it's not like he's. I don't want to make fun of a guy who has speech problems, but it's not like he's James Toney. You know what I mean? Like, have you heard James Toney talk recently?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's brutal. It's fucking brutal. Riddick Bowe, he's another bad one from the 80s. It's brutal listening to these dudes talk. Mike Tyson seems pretty much there. Like, I've listened to him on his podcast a lot. He seems pretty there.
Besides, the speech issue.
Well, yeah, but he's had that forever.
Speech impediment.
Yeah. But yeah, man, like, seeing his training, like, he's got it still. And that's what the crazy thing about boxing is. These dudes have done this forever. Like, I was reading a story this past week about Muhammad Ali in, like, the 90s, and he had Parkinson's at this point. It was 1995. It was this whole thing about WCW went to North Korea, and Muhammad Ali was there. It's like a special guest. And, like, they showed him, like, I guess he started jogging up, like, stairs and shadow boxing, and he had Parkinson's and was, like, 50-something at this point. Like, in boxing, you just have all that shit. Like, it's insane to me. And Mikey, now he's in shape, probably on TRT. I hope
man.
he is.
It is what it is.
At the end of the day, it is what it is. But yeah,
and he had beef for it on his side at AEW. I mean, he knows about that.
He tore his shirt in AEW. He's flexing, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's all we got for that whole topic. To move on to something else that kind of relates to the NBA, but not really. It relates to one of my favorite sports, the NHL, hockey. It's coming back, boys. I believe they need to officially pass like a ruling on little minor details about where the cities are going to be and where, like, it's just minor stuff, right? But the Players Association and the NHL as a whole have agreed to a scheduled return to play sometime in July. There'd be a 2014 playoff. Smarter people than me can explain how this whole thing works. I know right now the Blues are the number 1 seed. That's all I give a shit about. But to my knowledge, 12 teams are going to be in one place, 12 teams are going to be in another place. I believe it has to do with conferences, and 12 from the best conference from one conference in one place, 12 from another conference in the other. Blues are the number 1 seed, and I believe like the top 4 seeds are going to have a round robin where it's like whoever wins that is going to be the top seeds to help figure seeding out for the top teams, and those other teams are going to have like playing games or something weird. But I don't know, as the regular season's over, they're going straight into the playoffs, 2014 playoff, 2 hub cities sometime in July. So really quickly, do you think that the NBA should kind of, I know I'm the big hockey fan here. I know you don't know much about hockey, so I'm not going to ask you any questions about it. But do you think the NBA should kind of follow the NHL's pattern here? They normally have.
I listened to a podcast and they literally talked about that. They literally talked about that same format that hockey's using, and they gave a whole breakdown on it. I can see the functionality in it, and I think it would work. But man, is it different? Yeah, but it's gonna be a different year, and who cares, right? So make it happen.
Do you think that they should do an expanded playoffs, because that's pretty much what the NHL is doing? Because normally this would not be this many teams, but also it's a bit different though, because more teams were in playoff contention. Right now, the only team in playoff contention that's not there in the NBA was the Blazers.
Also, Disney World said they're ready, or Disneyland, or whatever. I forgot who it was.
Disney World in Orlando.
They said they're ready.
Yeah, I mean, really, we're just waiting on the NBA. The NBA has been dragging their feet this entire time, which I get for safety reasons, but at the same time,
Some
Like,
initiative, fam. Come
they
on.
really need to take some initiative because it feels like they're just seeing what the NHL does and then doing that. Like, it seems like we have a confirm that, like, here's the reason why I want the NBA to come back. Because next year is not going to be much different. And this is a hard truth people need to realize. Best case scenario for the NBA at the very start of the season, probably, I'm going to guess, 35% attendance. Like, they're going to have social distancing and a lot of stuff in place. By the time the NBA rolls around next year, we're not going to have this fixed. So what I want personally is for them to just, do this shit and go ahead and figure all the little stuff out, have the finals, have the playoffs, and go ahead and get all that done. And so that way they can kind of have a blueprint on what to do for next year, because next year's not going to be normal either. That's just the way I look at it.
No, you're right. You're right. The way everything's going, nothing's gonna be normal for a while.
Yeah. But something I wanted to hear your opinion about is I've heard, I don't remember Shaq. Shaq was the one that said this. I'm gonna paraphrase here. That the end, like, they should just cancel the season. It's probably like a week ago. They should cancel the season because whoever wins the NBA Finals is gonna have a major asterisk next to it. And I saw other players come out and say, in fact, the exact opposite. That whoever wins this year is going to have the exact opposite of an asterisk, because playing through this and winning this would be such a big deal and such a hard thing to do. They deserve, like, more respect than an average championship. What kind of side do you lean on? Because I know what side I lean on, and it's totally towards the players. But what kind of side do you lean on?
Bro, a ring's a ring. I'm a firm believer in that. Like, you gotta win. At the end of the day, it's those guys, those 5 guys playing against the other 5 guys, and it's just that at the end of the day in the court, no fans. We're talking about the best guys on the planet playing each other. It doesn't matter. I was going to be an asterisk. Are you not on the court playing? Do we not have the highest level of people playing on the court? At times, maybe not, right? But
You leave Ron Baker alone.
Everybody's on that court putting in the work and defending and trying. It's not like anyone's not actually like trying their heart out when they play and trying to get that ring and get that chip. Yeah, sure. Are you gonna have the giant fans at the celebration like you would once you win it? No, but are you gonna have that back and forth game? Like, it might be even more of intense to a game when there is no fans. You know what I mean? Kind of like in MMA where it's kind of like, oh, we're really here, ain't no one here to yell my name. It's just me and you, and that's it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter. I think whoever wins, it's just as important if there is no fans there or if it's normal or not. You still had to play through, the bracket or however you want to call it, and then make your way to the end and beat that last team, because that team is supposedly better than you and better than all the other guys before that.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I lean towards it. And I saw somebody say that, like, we should wait and see who wins there before we decide putting an asterisk. And I thought that was bullshit. I'm like, so basically, and here's the way I interpreted it. I interpreted that as, yeah, we're gonna wait and see if LeBron wins. That way we can we can get mad about it. But I think it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens. I feel like there won't be an asterisk, and there shouldn't be an asterisk because you're playing through so much shit right now. But also at the same time, I feel like the teams that everybody considers to be a favorite, the Clippers, Lakers, and Bucks, those are the big 3 everyone considers to be the favorites of this whole thing. And I completely see why, because those are the best teams whenever we left off. I feel like we're going to see a team, and this is just a strange out there prediction, and I'm not sure which one it will be. I feel like we're going to see a team come out of nowhere that probably has just more, I don't know what the word would be. I guess like they're better. They have more chemistry. They work together as a team better, like an all-around better team, as opposed to having the superstars. I would not be surprised to see a team like that come out and win. Because, for example, let's just say LeBron. LeBron hasn't been training. Nobody could train as hard as they normally would. You're going to have these guys coming in that are more rusty. And, for example, a guy like LeBron who's older, he's probably going to have more time and more trouble getting into game shape. And, like, a team like this is where we say the Bucks. John is coming in. He gets hurt training, God forbid. Or if he's still struggling getting back into game shape. Meanwhile, a team like maybe the Jazz, who have an all-around better team, like probably not better, but a deeper team than potentially the Lakers. They come in and they start gelling immediately. I would not be surprised to see that happen for multiple teams. That's just the way I feel. It's kind of a weird thing to talk about, but curious if you feel the same way.
I think it happened. I'm a firm believer in that. Anything could happen at the end of the day.
Fair enough. Yeah, man. I'm really excited for the return of the NHL and the probable return of the NBA. Again, nothing's confirmed as of now, but kind of a wait and see with that thing. You know.
Wait, did you see what Dame said before you move on?
Oh yeah, Dame said. Okay, so if you guys don't know this, Dame Lillard, the Blazers not in playoff contention really. I mean, they're technically there, but like they would need. How many games were left? Like 20 games left.
Also, teams above them would have to lose. Like certain things have to go the right way.
A lot of stuff would have to go the right way. And he said that if the season resumed and they had like, I don't know, not as many games to play, like if they only had like, I don't know, they finished the season with like 80 games, 70 games, he would not come back and play. Like, and I thought that was controversial to some people, but I don't see why it was. I mean, if there's no point in a lot of these guys, what's the point in them playing? Like, really, what's the point of just making this longer for guys that have nothing to play for?
It's more or less the team because of the whole like TV contract thing. Like, if you know that the team has to play a certain amount of games,
yeah,
and they get their money. It's more or less that than anything.
Yeah, and I understand that, but it just seems unnecessary, and I completely understand why he doesn't want to come back and play in that situation. But that's just the way I feel.
Oh yeah, no, it's completely understandable.
Anyways, to kind of move on from the NBA and the hockey world to the boxing world. I brought up Eddie Hearn earlier. I know that he was doing interviews on like the Matchroom YouTube channel. One of those was with KSI. KSI, who's kind of been dragging his feet. I don't want to say dragging his feet. He's been saying that he wants to focus on music this year. He doesn't want to box. Kind of, I don't want to say going back on his word, but he seems way more in tune with the Jake fight. I also saw him on Mom's Basement, Keemstar, and Face Banks and Custom Crazy, their podcast, where he again also confirmed that he wants the Jake fight very badly, and he said he wants to do it, and he wants to put an end to this YouTube boxing thing. Quick question. Hypothetically, let's say KSI wins. I don't think he does. We can wait for whenever this rolls around in 6 months from now, 8 months from now, for the KSI Jake fight to actually give our predictions.
Prove us wrong every time, though. I'll say that.
That is fair. I thought he would beat Joe Weller, but that's about it. Yeah, but let's say he does win it. Does YouTube boxing come to an end? I feel like it's kind of an apt topic because the YouTube boxing stuff has literally been our most watched stuff.
It probably does. That's probably the end of the saga. I'd hope so.
Yeah, because I mean,
what is JJ gonna do? Fight pro? Come on, you know, like that time. It would be very hard.
I mean, he wanted to before the Logan second fight. He was talking about it.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it was the first or second, whatever one. But yeah, man, I agree with him. I mean, listen, here's what it comes down to. I think if Jake wins, this whole thing has new life. Because KSI has been the face of this YouTube boxing thing. I think if Jake wins, we have a heel. We have a bad guy. We have this figure that people can hate on, and they'll watch him because, you know, people hate Jake. Logan is kind of matured more, and I feel like people don't hate him as much. Like, I personally don't. It seems like he's matured and kind of grown up. Jake still seems like a bit of an asshole, and he relishes in that. And, for example, let's say Jake goes out there and sparks KSI, which, after seeing that Nissan Gibb fight, absolutely possible. He's training with Shane Mosley. He's training with a great team. I would not be surprised for him to win. I think if Jake wins, it has whole new life. Maybe it's just how I feel, but do you think that could potentially happen?
I mean, and even then, with him, there was always talks of him fighting Soldier Boy and other celebrities. So, I mean, that could create a whole nother, you know, realm of thing of, you know, maybe celebrities fighting YouTubers or celebrities fighting celebrities or whatever you want to call it. I mean, you can even argue that these YouTubers are celebrities or whatever. But, I I mean, it would definitely have to continue at that point. I feel just because we have, but if JJ wins, it's kind of the end, right? Unless JJ wants to fight some rapper that he's having beef with, or whatever it may be, or call out a celebrity.
I mean, we think it ends there, but bro, Keem and H3, they're gonna box. They have to.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other story of itself. But I think it does end. It has to end. If JJ wins, that's the end of it. And I think it's a one, smart for him, smart for everybody, and smart for any YouTuber, because then at that point it's like, shit, JJ beat these 3 guys who probably a lot of people thought he wasn't gonna beat at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's hypothetically, I doubt this would happen. Let's just say, they go out there and like JJ just fucking cracks, Jake in like the first round. Obviously that's so unrealistic. I don't think any of them crack each other in the first round. But hypothetically, that happens, right? It's kind of like, well, no one's gonna want to fuck with JJ at that point. It's like JJ just, fucked 3 guys up like that, back to back, no fucks given.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I think if KSI wins, it's totally done. But here's my dream. I think my dream, what I want to happen necessarily. And it's not because I'm rooting for anyone in particular, but I think this YouTube boxing shit is super entertaining.
Content.
It's really good content, and I'm aware that it's not the most professional thing, but who cares? Like, it's not
supposed to be. It's not meant
exactly.
to be, yeah.
I think, Jake wins, and then I want to see him fight Sensei or someone.
Better. See, the thing is, no one wants the thing is, the reason I think Sensei was never on the table was because Sensei actually fought like pro fights. Like, Sensei actually has like a pro background.
Yeah, no, that's entirely why. Like, I understand why, but like, someone should fight Sensei. Like, I feel like there's gonna be some big fight. I don't know who it would be with, but
I feel like Sensei will be like the call to action if JJ loses. Like, FaZe will definitely try to come back and be like, something, F this, we need to send Sensei in, we have to send in the cavalry. And
that's what I was thinking, because KSI and Sensei are buds.
Yeah, and then he'll be like, all right, bro, I got you. Type of deal like that.
Yeah, and Jake took out both, KSI and his brother, and now he's got to send in Sensei, who's the boss battle.
The boss battle.
That's what it is. That's totally what it is.
Sure, call it what you want, but at least we know now. It's just gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Now we know it's gonna happen. JJ's down for it. We know Jake's been down for it. We know Eddie Hearn is super down for it. So this is gonna happen at some point in the near future. So we'll have that to talk about. As far as that, I don't think we have any announcements to do at this point in time, because we're not near it. We haven't seen any training. We don't know how JJ's camp's gonna change. We don't know if he's gonna bring anybody in, like Tyson or Roy. Just throwing names out there to be funny.
Yeah.
But or whoever, or Joshua. He talked to Joshua a while back when they were doing when he was gonna fight and JJ was gonna fight. They had like a little thing there. Maybe JJ made a few connections there. Who knows? Whatever. But as far as now, we know it's gonna happen. We wanted it, and now it's going to happen. So that's exciting stuff right there.
Yeah, for sure. Very exciting stuff. And really quick, one quick announcement before we head out. This is the last topic of the day. Boxing officially returning June 9th in Vegas. They're still filling out the card, but Shakur Stevenson, Felix Caraballo, that is the fight. That's the fight that's going to be the first main event of a boxing card that's going to return to boxing. I believe this is the first boxing match in the U.S. and I don't even know, because I can't remember the last big one. I know obviously there was ones, in March, but I don't remember the last big one. You know what I mean? I
don't know who fought. I'm trying to think. Well, who was it who was supposed to fight? Wasn't Ryan supposed to fight, or was it who was supposed to fight right before this all went south? No, because Ryan had just fought Canelo, but there was someone else who was supposed to fight like right as this was all going down.
I know what you're talking. I know Dillian Whyte was scheduled for March.
He?
No.
It got canceled. I remember it got canceled. It was like a big deal. It might have been wrong. I want to say it's Ryan, but I know that's wrong for some reason.
Yeah, no, because Ryan already fought. He fought right before it happened.
Or was it Sean? I don't even know. But I know it was a card that got canceled. It wasn't anything like boy, I can't even remember now. I remember seeing it on Twitter like, oh guys, the guy canceled this and that. Like it was gonna happen and then it got canceled. I know that's all I remember what it was. It was a while back though. I'm kind of mad that I can't remember it, but that was like one of the last things that almost happened but didn't.
Yeah. I don't know, man, but yeah, we got the big boxing card. We got that going down June 9th in Vegas. They're gonna do one 2 days later, June 11th in Vegas, but there's no real names attached to that one as of now. You got anything else before we bounce out of here, my man?
Nothing I can think of off the top of my head.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening as always. At Courtside Sound 1 on Twitter. I'm at Josh Evanovsky, chat, and check out _01. We're available on YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you can find a podcast, you can find us. Check out Fight TV as always. If you guys want the 7-day free trial for Fight Plus, you can go through the links on our YouTube, on our Podbean, anything just to help us out. We'd appreciate it as always. But yeah, so thank you guys for listening. So peace and butt grease. Mouse click.